Welcome to The Author Show, where we feature new authors and books, from fiction to self-help and everything in between. You'll find it all at theauthorshow.com. That's theauthorshow.com. And now let the show begin.
Hello and welcome back to the show. This is your host, Don McCauley. Today we're welcoming the program author Ayn Cates Sullivan, and Ayn is the author of A Story of Becoming. Ayn is an award-winning and best-selling author. She holds a master's degree in spiritual psychology from USM and a master's and doctorate in literature from Columbia University and King's College London. Ayn, how are you?
I'm very well. Excited to be on the show.
Let's start with a big question. Tell us about your book, please.
My book is called A Story of Becoming. And it has been the story of becoming of my own life, in a way. It's won 18 literary awards, and it has been a bestseller on Amazon this year. It's the story of a tree, and it's curious about who it's becoming, like we all are. We're all curious about who we're becoming. And it faces many challenges. It overcomes many challenges, and it becomes wiser and more miraculous with each page.
So who did you write your book for specifically?
I wrote the book for my son. At the time, he was 9 years old, and I was going through a divorce. And I wanted him to understand that although life changes and circumstances change, that we don't have to fall apart. We don't have to crack. Or even if we do, we learn, we grow, we come back, and we become stronger and more miraculous and wiser and better human beings. And that's what the story was for.
Now, would you say there's any type of central message or perhaps underlying theme that you could say runs throughout your book?
It's basically, as I've said before, it's about understanding that we face challenges in our lives. We face illnesses, we face betrayals, we face different things. That's just called life. And in the book, if we turn around and we face them head on, then we learn our messages. We grow, we become better, stronger, wiser, more wholesome human beings. And I wrote it for my kids for that reason. I wanted them to show up in life, to face challenges head on, to understand that life is here to help us become wise and to become greater contributions to humanity.
Now, if you could compare your book with any book out there we might already be familiar with, which book would it be and why?
My book compares very well with Shel Silverstein's A Giving Tree. And similar in message, a little bit lengthier, but the ending's quite different. In Silverstein's book, you wind up with a stump, and A Story of Becoming, you actually wind up with an orchard. But the idea is similar in that we need to learn to give and receive, and in that way it's similar.
Tell us a little more about the storyline.
Well, the story begins with a seed, and the seed is very curious about who she's becoming. She starts in the ground, she comes up, there are little leaves, she compares herself to other plants. She wants to know if she's a flower or what she is, just the same way that we compare ourselves with other people. Who are we? Where do we fit in the world and in life? And in this particular story, she sees herself reflected in a puddle, and so she's able to understand that she's a young tree. And over time, she actually starts to develop apples, and she's very excited about this. But things happen. She gets eaten by deer, she gets struck by lightning, things happen. Every time she thinks she's in full flourishing mode, she winds up under the ground in contemplation. Which, if you think about it, happens in life all the time. We get a medical diagnosis, something happens. And we have to go inside and find new capacity and new strength. And then we come back out stronger, more to share, more wisdom. And that's really what the book's about. So it keeps going in this way.
Tell us about some of the awards the book has won.
The book has really done well. It won the gold with Nautilus. It won also Children's Literary Classics. It won the London Book Award, Paris Book Award. And those were fun because we got to travel to Europe and spend time in these different places. 18 awards in total, and maybe some more coming. Also, they're actually listed on the webpage of the book, www.astorybecoming.net.
Now, did your environment or upbringing play any major role in your writing?
I would say that it did. I had an unusual upbringing in that I was raised on a mountaintop, and our family had an organic farm. And I did spend a lot of time with trees, and I kept a journal for a year with a tree. And I felt that in contemplating with the tree, I was really learning something not only about the tree and the rhythm and cycle of the tree, but also the rhythm and cycle of my own true nature. And I feel that that was very powerful. And that's part of what I share in the book.
What can you tell us about your genre and why you prefer to write in that genre?
My genre, I'm not sure I selected it. I think it really selected me. But because my life, even though I'm an academic and I've been really interested in mythology, Celtic mythology and so forth, what has been really important to me is to share messages with people that offer hope and that are in some way a contribution to humanity. We just are overwhelmed with books these days. We're overwhelmed with messages and media. And what I wanted was something that would offer hope and support and comfort to people. Now, what I get all over the place, which is actually fun, is messages from people all around the world that say that they sleep with my books under their pillow or near their bedstand because they feel when they're with the books that they're linked in some way to their own soul, to their own spiritual essence. And one thing a tree can do is remind us to be in the center of our own being, to be still, to find our own inner light, our inner strength, our inner capacities. And I think sometimes people just holding the book, or in the story, they find out they can share the seeds of the tree, of the apple seeds of the tree, with other people. It's almost like a message. I give you this seed, and you can remember that you have a seed of hope. You have a seed of light within yourself. You give that to another person, and it's almost contagious. We remember, oh, we're not trapped. We don't need to be in despair. We don't have to be depressed. We can actually remind each other that we can support each other, that we can live and grow together, that together we can be the best possible human beings that exist today. We can stand on the shoulders of each other.
What's been your most rewarding experience since publishing your book?
Well, I think my most rewarding experience has really been the emails and messages that I get from people who have read the book and truly loved it. And when I get messages on Facebook or wherever they come from, that maybe they were going through cancer and they kept the book with them and it gave them hope while they were going through chemotherapy. That really touches my heart. Or that they went through a divorce and they felt that their life was over. But reading the book and they're reminded that, oh, it's just a change. I'm just going through a divorce and that means that a new life gets to open up for me. Or someone loses someone that's dear to them, but they remember that, well, we never died, that actually we just change form and we keep going. So when I get messages from people that have really felt in their heart that the message has touched them in a way that it brings a spark of hope, a spark of life, a spark of just deliciousness, steadfastness, courage, light, then I love that. Sometimes I get messages from all ages. I hate to generalize so much, but I do really get messages from 8-year-old kids that send me a picture of their own wishing tree. And I get messages from people in nursing homes who say that they love the book because it reminds them that they can move into the next phase of life, wherever that may happen to be. So the theme that seems to be true with all the readers is that they found a spark that lives within themselves. So they read the book over and over and over again to remind themselves of their own message that lives within their own heart and soul and being.
How would you describe your writing style?
I have a mytho-poetic writing style. I have 2 books of poetry that are out, and I'm actually getting ready to publish a series of 4 volumes of mythology. So my writing style is simplistic but poetic. So it will carry you along like a boat floating through a river. You'll be carried from one image to the next.
Based on your experience as a writer, what's the one recommendation you would make to authors just starting out?
Write what is true to you. There's so many workshops and so many people with gimmicks, but I never find that really works. I really believe what works is to sit in nature, to get very attuned to yourself, to the natural world, and to your own heart and soul, and then write from your heart. Write what's real. Write what matters. Not another vampire story, something that you think is going to catch on, but something that really matters. Make a contribution to humanity.
Could you give us your website address again?
My website address is AynCatesSullivan.com, and my name is unusual. It's spelled A-Y-N, A-Y-N-C-A-T-E-S, Sullivan, SULLIVAN.com, and the book's website is www.astoryofbecoming.net.
Well, this has been just great. Our guest today has been Ayn Cates Sullivan, and she is the author of A Story of Becoming. Ann, thanks very much for being with us today.
Thank you. I've enjoyed it.
This is Don McCauley wrapping up another edition of The Author Show. Please share this interview with your family and friends so that they too may have the opportunity to discover our guest and her work. And why not spread the word on social media? We look forward to you joining us next time for another great book and another great author on The Author Show.
Thanks for listening to The Author Show. Find out more about authors and their work at theauthorshow.com. theauthorshow.com. Tune in next time to another great author on The Author Show.